We will be doing our country project on Kenya. My name is James Graham.
And I'm JJ Stahl.
Today, our objectives are to develop information about the economic and social barriers that needs improvement, and to also evaluate the status of Kenya's agriculture.
The Global Hunger Index of Kenya has dropped 27% since 2000 and is currently sitting at 24%. The economy right now, the gross domestic product is at 145.65 billion in the purchasing power. The GDP is ranked 74th total, and the inflation is down 6.2%. Population below poverty line is 45%. The labor force is down 17.8 million, which is also 45% of the population, and unemployment is at 40% right now. The industries is a big part in Kenya, and they consist of the agriculture, forestry and fishing, mining and minerals, industry and manufacturing, energy, tourism, and financial services, with subcategories that include small-scale consumer goods, plastic, furnitures, battery, textiles, clothing, soap, cigarettes, flour, agricultural products, horticulture, oil refining, aluminum, steel, lead, cement, commercial ship repairs, and tourism. The economy, exports are up 5.942 billion. The export goods are tea, horticulture products, coffee, petroleum products, fish and cement. And then the main export partners are Uganda, Tanzania, US, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Zambia, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates. And these are some of the flags included in the country. The imports are up $14.39 billion, and the import goods will include machinery and transportation equipment, petroleum products, motor vehicles, iron and steel, resins, and plastics. And their import partners are India, China, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and South Africa.
The public finances are as shown. The public debt is $11,960,000,000. The budget deficit for Kenya equals negative 4.6%. The revenue is $7.375 billion, and the expenses are equal to $9.3 billion. Based on their agriculture, Kenya is one of the most successful agricultural production regions in Africa. Agriculture is the second largest contributor to Kenya's GDP. Foresting and fishing also accounted for 24% of their GDP and also 50% of their revenue from exports. They mainly produce cash crops such as tea, horticulture produce, and also coffee.
Recent progress, Kenya's Vision 2030 towards a globally competitive and prosperous nation. In 2007, Kenya government unveiled Vision 2030, an economic development program it hopes will put the country in the same league as the Asian economic tigers by the year 2030. In 2013, it launched a national climate change action plan, having acknowledged that omitting climate has as a key development issue in Vision 2030 as an oversight. The 200-page action plan, developed with support from the Climate and Development Knowledge Network, sets out the government of Kenya's vision for a low-carbon, climate-resilient development pathway. At the launch in March 2013, the Secretary of Ministry and Planning, National Development, and Vision 2030 emphasized that climate will be a central issue in the renewed medium-term plan that will be launched in the coming months. This will create a direct and robust delivery framework for the action plan and ensure the climate change is treated as the economy-wide issue.
Barriers to further progress. Kenya's non-tariff barriers are to trade, to ease imports and exports, and also cost of products. In conclusion, overall, Kenya has shown to make remarkable strides of becoming a well-developed country. To continue further address the issues with Kenya's population, Kenya's future must consist of a developmental plan to impede the non-tariff barriers to trade to ease import, exports, and also cost of products. Lack of addressing this issue does not only affect the economic state of Kenya, but also affect the quality of goods, ultimately causing health and safety concerns of Kenya's total population. Take-home messages. Kenya is home to the most successful agricultural production region in Africa. Industry's establishment has played a huge role in the growth development of their economy.